Muli, magandang araw. Ako po si Eli Saludar.
Ito po ang iyong kaibigan, former Secretary Jing Paras. Dito tayo sa program Iparas kay Paras. Magandang hapon po, mga kababayan.
At magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Sa ibang parte ng mundo kayo naroon, ito po si Ado Paglinang.
At syempre, pinag-uusapan pa rin itong may kinalaman sa People's Initiative kahit na si Pangulong Marcos Jr. ay sinasabi na ang Senado mangunguna sa pag-amyenda sa economic provision sa ating saligang batas. Pero may mga report na nakakalap na raw di umano ng sapat na pirma para maisulong itong People's Initiative. So, Secretary Jing, anong mga pwedeng mangyari dito?
Well, presuming na ang sinasabi mo at ang naririnig natin sa mga usap-usapan ay nasa COMELEC na daw. Ha? Yung ikangay People's Initiative at tila nakalap na.
So, nakuha na yung ano?
Yung 3% per district. And from my sources from the grapevine ay kasalukuyan na daw na nagbiberipika at nagsusuri ang Commission on Election as to the veracity ng mga signatures. At ito ba ay nag-comply doon sa constitutional requirements ng tinatawag na People's Initiative. Now, ipalabas muna natin yung sinasabi ni Subiri. Yung sa kanyang press con ay talagang very certain na si Subiri na talagang ito ay nahinto na yung People's Initiative.
Kaya, nung pagkita po natin kay Presidente, we decided, the President, first of all, and I'd like to thank the President for his comment that the PI is too divisive, and even mentioned news items from the major networks that he watched the night before. At sabi, nagkakagulo na, bakit nagkakaganyan, may bayaran, and he even said na, and I thank the President for this, because he even said na, dati ako senador. Bilang dati senador, hindi din ako papayag na ma-undermine o ma-diminish ang kapangyarihan ng Senado sa pagdating ng usaping bicameralism or bicameral form of government. So maganda po ang direksyon ng Pangulo. And ang sabi niya sa akin at kay Speaker, sabi niya, why doesn't the Senate take the lead in the discussions of the economic provisions and then you approve your version which the House can adopt? So that was the position of the President. Para hindi na tayo maglalagay pa kung ano-ano pang mga amendments na sa tingin natin ay magagalit ang taong bayan. So, that was quite clear in the meeting, and that's why in the Van de Honor, medyo smiling na po kami ng Speaker of the House at ang Presidente ng Senado, because we were able to resolve that very big issue. That night, nag-meeting po kami with the senators. We had about 14 senators that met that night, and we discussed the possibilities. Nakuha ko naman po yung full support ng majority members of the Senate. We were also there. We also had the member of the minority there, Senator Risa Ontiveros. And of course, we said to her that we know their position, we will respect their position, but I'm being transparent. As the Senate President, I want to be transparent that these discussions will be taking place once the Senate resumes on January 22.
Tila sinasabi ni Subiri na ultimong si Marcos mismo ay nung senador, naging senador daw siya at hindi siya papayag ng ganon. Pero nung senador, pero ngayon presidente na siya, iba na yung pagtingin niya, tulad ng merger ng Land Bank at ikangay DBP. Noong senador siya, hindi siya pumapayag. Pero ngayon, mag-issue nga siya ng executive order para mag-merger. So, maraming sinasabi si Marcos when he was a senator that is not saying that that goes now, no? Yan ay magiging totoo as of now. Anong masasabi nyo? So kung ito, ang People's Initiative ay nakakalap na ng mga ikangay, ibig sabihin, mabilis ang kilos ng mga congressmen. At ito ay kung there's no stopping now. It has a life of its own.
Pero
Itong
hindi ba ito
PI.
magiging moot dahil sa, siyempre, alam naman natin, lahat pag ang kumpas galing sa Pangulo, pwedeng manaig. Kung ayaw niya ng People's Initiative, pwedeng matigil yan.
Yeah, pero kung COMELEC is an independent body, o if it's already within them na file na yung petition, it is no longer within the jurisdiction of the president.
So, binamagit
Kasi
mo,
constitutional body yung that is, I am presuming na yung mga rumors ay totoo nga, nandiyan na talaga sa COMELEC yan.
yun.
Oo. Pero it's neither here nor there at the moment until uungkitin o angkatin or kukulitin ng Senado kung gaano to katotoo. Oo.
Kasi yung statement ni Subiri, base yata sa media. Naniniwala siya sa mga sinabi ni Marcos sa media.
Oo. So, well, if it's true that this PI has a life of its own, and that's good for the Filipino people. Considering that, alam mo kasi itong akusasyon, Eli, Ado, akusasyon na there are both buying, there are ikangay mga tupad, mga AX na nilalabas, it remains as a chismis, as a marites. Although, sabi ni Jaime, magpapatuloy yung kanyang resolution to investigate. Well, that's neither here nor there now until such time na maprubahan niya na may mga testigo siya talagang umamin na tumanggap sila ng pera o may mga congressmen na tatraidor kung sino man na sasabihin, oo nga pala, kami talaga namili ng boto. But until such time, it's just a mere allegation, di ba? But what is certain is nakakalap ng mga signatures.
Yes,
During that period na tinira ng mga handlers yung People's Initiative, di ba? So paano ngayon yan? Ang tanong diyan, paano ngayon yan kung nasa jurisdiction na ng COMELEC? At paano mo mapipigil? Kung may pera yan na malaki na papaikutin para sa mga COMELEC commissioners,
Pwede ang next stop yan Supreme Court.
Yun ang
Diba?
yun ang papuntariya. Oo. But in the meantime na nasa COMELEC yan, presuming that this or what we've heard as allegations are all true, so the COMELEC is duty bound to verify kasi na-file na yung petition Hindi naman sila atras na sinasabi ni Subiri, sabi ni COMELEC has its own mandate.
Tsaka tungkulin nila trabaho.
Tungkulin nila yan. So, halimbawa, ito ay biniverify at na-verify ka nga. Hindi natin alam kung anong sikreto dyan na talagang sasabihin ng COMELEC yan na, ay, okay ito. So, there will be petitioners to the Supreme Court. So,
So, maaaring yung statement ni Subiri is after the fact.
after the fact.
Posible.
Kasi ang tagal niyang kumilos. Ang tagal niyang kumilos. Si Jaime lang ang unang kumilos Sila Lagman, yun ang mga kumikilos. But after the fact na ito, baka mamaya nung nagdadaldal siya sa press con niya, fit accompli na yung signature campaign.
Tapos na.
Tapos na ang buto-buto.
Tapos na ang boxing.
Tapos na ang boxing.
There was an atmosphere of uncertainty nung nagsasalita siya dahil papikit-pikit yung mata niya.
Nagiging emotional lang.
Naging emotional lang.
Oh, ganun
Kasi
ba?
dadanak daw ang dugo.
Oh, wow.
I like to see the blood running in the river.
Let there be.
Pero ito, maraming tataka dahil sa mga nakaraan, talagang ang Senado, tutol na tutol. Sa just things. Diba, kahit na ano, basta ayaw nila. Pero ngayon mukhang...
At saka tingin ko, magkakagulo pa rin itong Senado. Bakit? Ito si Ginoong Pimentel, ang minority floor leader, ay hindi sang-ayon sa mga pinagdadaldal ni Subiri. Ito, pakinggan natin si Pimentel. Turn around daw. Yung turn around daw ni Subiri ay questionable. Bumaliktad. Kasi dati, ayaw-ayaw. Ngayon, gusto naman. Anong apoy na sinindi sa puwet ni Subiri?
By the way,
Sumigi dito.
In my conversation with Robin Padilla, yan ang lumalabas, ha? Na ganyan si Subiri. Parang ginaganon
Bakit?
niya.
Anong ganyan? Lalaki? Babae? Anong ganyan?
Parang pinipigilan niya yung further discussion.
Ugali. Hindi gender. Okay. Sige, so...
Sabi mo, Kado, at tinawin mo. Dapat diretsahan dito.
Diretsahan dito. Ito, pakinggan natin si Senator Pimentel. Ayan.
The Senate has been tasked by President Marcos to take the lead in reviewing proposed economic amendments to the Constitution. But other senators are not pleased by the sudden turnaround in the chamber's stance on charter change.
Nung binasa ko yung RBA 6, sabi ko na-encounter natin to before. Hindi to bago. Dati, hindi siya naging attractive na proposition. Ngayon, biglang ang initiative nanggaling na sa ilang senador. So, magtataka ka, ano ba nangyari? Nasindak kami doon sa People's Initiative. Hindi masabi na knee-jerk reaction.
Okay, tapos mayroong ding statement si Ginang Amy. Ito, pakinggan naman natin si Ginang Amy Marcos. Isa ding senador ito. Na hindi rin mukhang sang-ayon dito sa mga moves ni Subiri. Ayan.
With the Resolution 6 at the Senate is merely a compromise, as I see it, that had to be hammered between the Speaker, who was insistent on his Project PI, versus the senators who would have none of it. And so there appears to be an agreement to study once again, exactly as the President said, to a subcommittee under the Committee of Constitutional Reform.
The important word is compromise. Anong klaseng bansa ito? Kino-compromise yung welfare ng taong bayan. It's a compromise between both houses of Congress. Wala na bang say ang mga kababayan natin? Kungkol dito sa ano. At ito naman minimension ni Senator Amy na ang nasa likod nitong charter change ay ang Speaker of the House. At kung ano-ano ng mga akusasyon na binibitawan niya against Speaker, even saying to the extent na he's not a Marcos. He's not a Marcos. So, ibig sabihin, parang pinagtataboy niya si Speaker bilang kamag-anak.
Tinatatwa, no?
At marami na siyang buljak kay Speaker. Hindi naman tama yan bilang isang wag na nating anuhin yung blood relation, but
trabaho lang,
walang personalan. At especially the status of the Speaker of the House must be fully respected.
Pero ako nahihiwagahan din ako sa sinabi ni Bongbong Marcos. Kasi kung tupad ba yun at saka DSWD ang mga perang ginagamit dito, bari ba wala complicity nito ang executive?
Mga alter ego niya yung mga head niyan. Mali bang yung sinasabi ni Amy na tupad, AX, these are being generated by departments.
Executive
And the
function.
department is headed by the department secretary who is the alter ego of Marcos.
So, dapat birahin niya ang kapatid, si Bongbong.
Dapat ultimately, kung AX, saan ba yan? Department of Welfare.
DSWD.
Oo. And DSWD, Department of Social Welfare. And ito namang TUPAD, that's Department of Labor. Ito namang sinasabing DOH naman, that's Department of Health. Who are all headed by the President. So necessarily, Marcos is involved in the movement. So, kung ipa-imbestiga niya ito sa Senado, at siya galing sa bibig niya ni Amy na ginagamitan itong 20 million worth of mixture of all these facilities, kailangan ipatawag niya mismo itong mga alter ego ni Marcos Jr., di ba?
Oh, how can that happen? How can that be supervised by the Speaker of the House?
At saka sinasabi ng mga congressmen, especially itong spokesman ng House, na wala daw kinalaman naman si Speaker dito sa pinagdadaldal ni Amy, pinagdadaldal ni Lagman. In fact, Garbin, in one of his interviews, si Garbin, a former congressman, but I think he is a consultant of one of the members of Congress, so maybe he speaks for a congressman, ay pinagsinungalingan ni Garbin na itong mga dinadakdak ni Amy Marcos are mere allegations. So, if that is true, kaya ba ni Amy patawag ang mga congressmen sa kanyang investigasyon na ipapatuloy daw niya? Pangalawa, ito naman, si Tulfo, supposed to be the spokesman of the House. He being the deputy majority floor leader. O ito, pakinggan natin si Tulfo. Sabi niya, walang kinalaman daw din si Speaker dito sa mga inaakusa nila na si Speaker is behind the these are all allegations. Wala namang proof na sabi ni Ivy, mga staff daw ni Speaker. For all we know, baka naniniwala lang siguro yung mga staff na yan sa ikangay katutulan ng People's Initiative. O ito, pakinggan natin si Tulfo.
There was no instruction from the Speaker na trabahuin ninyo itong People's Initiative, the signature campaign. Napag-uusapan ng mga congressman. There were meetings by House leaders and political party leaders. Pero I was in those meetings and wala namang instruction na sinasabing Speaker na madaliin ninyo, pirmahan ninyo, you go to your constituents, etc., etc. No such thing, Ms. Karen. Kaya I was so surprised na I was overseas nung kumalat ito dito sa Pilipinas. So I was wondering, like, what happened? Bakit suddenly may ganito?
So, Tulfo, Garbin, and certain others are questioning the allegation ni Amy Marcos. So, nagkakaroon tuloy ng buljakan dyan, ano?
It's very go round.
Baka natin ang susunod na kabanata. Pero, what if, mga kababayan, kung ang mga haka-haka ngayon ay tapos na ang boxing, ang People's Initiative ay nasa kamay na ng Commission on Election. At ito ay binibiripaka na ang mga signatures at tinitingnan na ngayon kung ang bawat distrito ay nakapag-comply ba sa 3% requirement ng every congressional district at nakalap ba yung requirement ng batas tungkol sa People's Initiative. That is a big question. Mukhang madidiskaril na naman at hindi lamang madadanak ang dugo, baka babaha ang luha ng mga senador. Pag nalaman nila yan na pagka voting jointly na lang, ano pang
Wala, tapos
ano pang ano nila?
That is as good as unicameral.
As unicameral. Which is really good for the country. Which is really getting rid of a lot of money that goes to the senators na wala namang katuturan balita ko pa may 3 billion pa yatang patong yan bawat senador I heard it from one of the stalwart in Congress but of course I have my Soto law that will prevent me from divulging anything
Sino source mo? Soto law.
yung source ko napakataas sa hierarchy okay. So, yun po, mga kababayan. Pero chismis lang po lang itong naririnig namin, Pero sinasabi natin, baka itong chismis may katotohanan. Ano pang mangyayari kung tapos na sa COMELEC?
Hindi lang naman level of chismis. We are discussing of the level of probability.
Probabilities. And
Probability.
the consequences of
Correct.
having those probabilities a reality. Ayan, yun lang po. Okay. At tungkol naman sa ikangay reaction ni Marcos dito sa destabilization at mga pagbaba ng kanyang survey ay with due respect, gumalaw naman ang ating Pangulo. At ginagano niya ngayon, tapping the back of the members of the armed forces, mga sundalo, at ginugoyo niya ngayon ang mga sundalo. Ito po, pakinggan natin ito or tingnan natin itong news report.
Inaprubahan na ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang pagbibigay ng pondo para sa rice subsidy at improved medical services para sa mga sundalo. Inihayag ng Pangulo ang magandang balita kasabay ng pagbisita kahapon sa Malacanang ng ilang matataas na opisyal ng Armed Forces of the Philippines at Philippine National Police. Ayon kay PBBM, bahagi na ng commitment ng kanyang administrasyon na mapangalagaan ang kapakanan ng tropa ng pamahalaan sa pamamagitan ng pagdaragdag ng pondo ngayong taon para sa Department of National Defense. Patuloy namang hinihikayat ng Pangulo ang AFP na lalo pang paigtingin ang ugnayan at pakikipag-alyansa sa ibang mga bansa upang mapalakas ang defense capability.
Okay. Mabuti naman at may ginagawang medyo tama. Talaga namang nangangailangan ang ating mga sundalo ng tulong in these times of needs. Kaya sabi tuloy ni Marco siguro kay Browner at kay Anacorda, Cordito. Anacorda, sabi ni Juan
Acorda.
Ni Maharlika. Kay Acorda, pare, tigil niyo na yung huwag niyo na akong ligwakin. Huwag niyo na akong ligwakin. Daming bigas ibibigay ko sa inyo.
Pero yung sa MUP, matutuloy pa rin ba yan? Kasi bago na ang financial.
Well, isa din yan sa pinapakita ni Marcos ngayon na sinabi niya siguro na, ikita nyo, sinapak ko na si Jok to. Pinaalis ko na sa aking aking kabinete kasi nagalit ako dahil sa mga pinagsasabi niya tungkol sa inyo. Baka yun ang dinaldal niya doon kay Browner at kay Anacorda. Oo.
Pero sa akin, iba ang dating doon.
Ay, ibang dating. Anong dating?
Total, mawawala na yung pension nyo. Itong bigas.
So, ibig sabihin, tuloy yung rigwakin ng pensyon,
Abangala, susunod na kamalata.
So, ibig sabihin, yung bigas ang kapalit doon sa pagtanggal ng mga pensyon. So, maraming uncertainty talaga sa ating gobyerno. And, well, when you have a leadership that is wishy-washy, what do you expect from the result of a very weak leader? Ika nga ni Duterte. He's a weak leader. So, we have to look forward and see what is the next step, especially in the area of agriculture. Kasi itong si sinungaling sa kanyang credential, Chu Laurel, pati yata apelido nito sinisinungaling kasi inchik talaga ito, hindi man to Pinoy pero kinukuha niya yung apelyido ng mga Laurel. With due respect, no? But anyway, itong tao na ito, sabi siya na basic daw ang kakulangan ay data. So paano ka didiskarte bilang agriculture secretary when in the first place you don't even have a data as to how to proceed in your management, di ba? Paring Ado, kung wala kang empirical data as to how many farmers, how many hectareage of land that is irrigated and non-irrigated, how do you proceed in building up good production if you don't have the data to do such a thing? Is this showing that he is not really competent to do the job? Pare?
Oo, tsaka yung kanyang niname for the rice program ng direktor. Ang unang sabak agad, yung suggested retail price daw hindi dapat masyadong mababa. As if that will solve the problem of
So SRP?
Oo. As if that will solve the problem of the law of supply and demand dito sa rice
Tapos
economy natin.
tatalaga pa daw siya ng Assistant Secretary for Logistics. Anong klaseng pamamaraan kung marami kang ang pera, hindi mo naman magagastos dahil kulang ka sa programa. Ano bang programa mo? Unang-una, ano bang facility no maibigay mo sa mga farmers? At napag-aralan mo na ba, Mr. Chulaurel, kung talaga ba tayong mag-stick sa rice production? Or magkaroon tayo ng change of crops and strengthen this
Diversification.
and strengthen this para marami tayong ma-export ng mga ibang produkto kasi dead end na talaga yung rice. Why? Because unlike Vietnam, unlike Thailand, they have the Mekong Delta na built-in irrigation system that supplies the needs of their irrigation.
What you're saying there is if we have high-value crops,
Yes.
yung kinitas high-value crops
Yes.
can import yung rice insufficiency.
At saka it will bring the import cheaper kasi may kita ka. Unlike kukunin mo sa mga taxpayers yung pang-import mo. If you have money coming from high-value crops, ang laki ng market sa China for high saging, mga root crops, yung kasaba, yung kamote, more planting of mangoes, durian,
And derivative products, yung mga
value added, mga value added. So, ito po ay pwede nating i-export lahat at kikita tayo. At yun ang ibili ng bigas. May kita ka and aside from your principal, mayroon kang profit which will be a buffer for the cost of importing rice.
Pero kasi,
Yun dapat ang isalagay mo sa utak mo. O ikaw, expert ka sa pananagat or ano ba yun? Panagat. Yung fishing. Bakit hindi mo expand yun? It's your opportunity to show prowess in your field of experience. Increasean mo yung turuan mo yung mga fishermen in how to do high value fishing.
Even in rice, there are high value varieties. And nag-e-export tayo as we speak. Nag-e-export tayo ng high value rice varieties. These are the Japonic.
Pareho lang yan doon sa oil industry. Our natural gas coming from Malampaya, hindi naman natin ginagamit yan directly Most of we sell that because ang ating ginagamit na natural gas is low grade. So, pero pinabayaan natin, napunta na nga lang yun sa isang monopoly. When in fact, the country, sinasabi yan ni Jaime parati, yung Malampaya, that should have even funded our Maharlika Investment Fund. Because napakalaki ang very lucrative yung pero what happened? Binigay lang sa isang crony na sobra ng yaman. Ha? Oh. He squandered the wealth of our country by favoring a crony who has already benefited so much from 3 or 4 administrations. Ha? Oh, sino ba naman yan? Yung tatay niyan, if I remember, ang unang business lang yan, dyan sa, sa pier. Ha? Arastre. Oh. I remember, I was a very young man who helped the business of my brother in the port area. Yung kanyang tatay, Pocholo Rason, yun ang negosyo lang. They were not really filter rich. Pero during the 3 administrations, yumaman ang yumaman. Itong na ito. Pati yung pinakialaman yung ating Transco. Nakumbinsi niya si Macapagal Arroyo para ibukod yung franchise for the NGCP. Transmission. At kumita pa siya ng husto dahil tinurn around niya at binili pa ngayon nitong SM at saka China. 40% of the transmission lines is owned by China. Tapos inaaway nila ngayon yung China. The first, imbis na i-boycott mo yung products na ng China, dapat niligwak mo na yung Chinese diyan sa dapat ni Mr. JB Ejercito, ang una mong ginawa, kasi galit ka sa China, niligwak mo yung mga Chinese dyan sa NGCP kasi sinasabi nila security threat yung na yan. So yan ang nangyari sa ating bansa ngayon, pare. What can you say about it?
Kaya nga, hindi dugtong-dugtong ang ang mga programa, hindi dugtong-dugtong ang mga strategy, kanya-kanya sila. So, nagsasuffer ang energy sector as well as
and
the
lastly,
agricultural sector.
Regodon pa ng regodon.
Palit pa ng palit.
Palit ng palit. 3 buwan ka lang maging head ng isang ahensya, kung hindi ka nagbibigay ng pag-ibig doon sa nakakapangyarihan, ay ligwak ka na. So that is the kind of government we have. But at least we have itong kaibigan natin si Speaker ay nagsisikap. Ito, nasamba ngayon si Speaker. Habang umiiyak si Subiri, nagpapaligaya si Speaker at nagtatrabaho doon sa Davos. Davos, how do you pronounce it? Davos, okay. Nasa Davos, Switzerland. Ito, panoorin natin yung news item.
Speaker Martin Romualdez, who is leading the contingent, also met with Mongolia's Prime Minister Monday. Now, joining Romualdez in this year's WEF include Central Bank Governor Eli Remolona, Energy Secretary Rafael Otilia, and Rafael Consing Jr., the president and CEO of the entity which manages the Philippine Sovereign Wealth Fund. The delegation will pitch the country to more foreign investors. They will also promote the Maharlika Investment Fund and seek to generate more jobs for Filipinos.
Okay, so yan, ang ating speaker, nung nagsalita na si Marcos Jr. tungkol sa future ng amendment ng Konstitusyon, ayun, doon sa Switzerland, doing his job in attracting foreign investors, even before any amendment to the economic provision. What do you say about that? Nagtatrabaho daw ang speaker na mabuti. While Subiri is crying, the speaker is doing his work. What do you say about that, Ado? Kasi yan ang mga sinasabi ng karamihan.
Well, ako'y nangangamba dito sa estado ng ating Senado na dahil sa kanilang kapabayaan at katamaran, ay mukhang nahuhuli sa bus, no?
Naiwan sa pansitan.
Naiwan sa pansitan. Kasi, actually, all these administrations have been crying out for cha-cha. And now that it seems to be going into a paradaliin, no? Ipapacilitate, i-expedite, hinaharang na naman nila. Hindi ko maintindihan.
Tapos ngayon, threatened alam mo talagang parating personal lang talaga
Personal lang
ang
naman.
interest nitong mga iilan dyan or kalamihan dyan. They are always there to protect their personal interest. Whatever they make money out of the coffers of government being there, which is really cannot be denied, di umano, ay pinoprotektahan nila yung sarili nila. Sabi nga ni Pimentel, who is a very astute politician, and he made good when he was the Senate President, turn around now. Ito si Subiri, ito sila Angara, ito sila they were the very members of the Senate who is always opposing whenever there's an attempt to introduce amendments, reforms in the Constitution. At they always use the provision of the Constitution na voting separately. Even then, Senate President Soto was pushing for charter change. Karamihan ng mga kagrupo niya dyan ay umaayaw. Tapos ngayon, bigla na lang threatened sila on their personal interest, ay bigla na yung, kami na ang mamumuno. Kami na ang mag-uuna.
Wala pa tayo doon sa specific provisions. Nandun pa lang tayo sa procedure. So, anong ginangat-ngat nila? Bakit sila nag-o-object? Di ba? Wala pa namang
Kasi nga, ang objection nila, it's not for the people. It's not for the
For themselves.
For the bayan. What is always in their mind, kasi ito karamihan dito kasi, under a regional, under a district-wide, or the most potent thing that could happen is a unicameral. Ay, yun ang fear nila. That they will no longer be elected under a regional. Kasi mayroong isang senator dyan, ito yung tumatakbong congressman sa district, hindi na nanalo. Pero nakachamba dahil na nationwide yung sumakay siya doon sa mga antay-antay noon, naging senador. Pero patakbuhin mo uli yan doon sa region.
Sa distrito.
Itong mga artista na nanalo sa kasi kilala sila. Yung mga pamilya na nakapundar na, magkapatid. Do you really think they will win in a regional election? They will not. That is why they were threatened. They are threatened na pagka bumulusok na yung amendment that will transform reforms in our system of political system, secondarily yung economic, takot na sila, baka mamaya there is no stopping na biglang mayroong isang congressman, dalawang congressmen na mag-propose, let's make the election of senator regional. Pagka nagkabotohan jointly, anong iboboto nila? Talo sila, 301 versus 24. That is their main fear. And it is a personal fear. It's not for the welfare of the Filipino. It's for their own welfare to perpetuate themselves to power.
Hindi lang yun. Yung mga sponsors nila na mostly oligarchic and monopolistic, ay mga naghaharing uri are protected by the senators.
Yes.
Precisely because of this provision.
Now, I have nothing personal kasi most of them, mga colleagues ko rin yan sa, nagkaroon lang ng break. These people would not have won if not for the break. And the break was, GMA was the most criticized president at the time these people ran for office. There was the creation of then Mayor Binay of Makati, Jojo Mar Binay, yung UNO, United Opposition. At nagkaroon ng opportunity ito dahil at the time the administration was in a very low, yung Hello Garci, yung mga ganon. Kaya na-elect ito.
Nakasingit.
Nakasingit. And they are now perpetuating themselves to power. Di ba?
Okay.
Yun po ang nangyayari. I mean, that's the whole truth.
Okay, so hanggang sa susunod po na episode. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.